Look around you. Whether it's in the workplace, politics, or the stories we read in history books, a pattern begins to reveal itself. One that can feel unfair, even cruel. The people who seem to rise to the top, who gain the most power and wealth, are often not the kindest or most hardworking. Instead, they are the ones willing to bend the rules, to cut corners, and sometimes to crush those who stand in their way. Meanwhile, those who work diligently, who treat others with respect, and who stay true to their values often find themselves overlooked or left behind. You might know someone like this in your own life. That manager at work who steps on others to get promotions. The business owner who seems to thrive by exploiting their employees. The politician who lies without shame, yet somehow keeps winning elections. Can feel frustrating, even disheartening. We grow up being told that if we work hard and do the right thing, success will follow. But reality often tells a different story. Why is it that those who cheat, deceive, and manipulate seem to have the upper hand? Why do the worst people, the ones who break every moral code, seem to rise while good people struggle just to get by? Feels wrong, doesn't it? As if the world is somehow broken, as if the system has failed those who deserve success the most. But here's the harsh truth. One that many people spend their whole lives trying to avoid. This isn't a flaw in the system. It is the system itself. Power, wealth, and influence are not handed out as rewards for being good. They are taken by those who understand how the game works. Human society, from the ancient empires to modern boardrooms, has always been driven by competition, by a battle for resources, status, and control. And in that battle, hesitation is often punished, while boldness is rewarded. History makes this clear. Think of the great conquerors, Julius Caesar, Genghis Khan, Napoleon. These were not gentle men guided by fairness. They were ruthless, decisive, and unafraid to crush their enemies. They shaped the world not by asking for permission but by taking what they wanted. Even today, the business world is ruled by those who dominate markets, outmaneuver competitors, and exploit weaknesses. Does this mean that kindness and morality have no place in success? Not necessarily. But it does mean that playing fair by itself is not enough. The system is not designed to reward goodness. It rewards power, the ability to act, to take risks, and to win, even when the path is harsh. This is a difficult truth to accept. We want to believe that the world is fair, that good people will naturally rise. But life does not work that way. Power is not evil, but it is indifferent. It favors those who understand its nature, those who are willing to embrace the reality that sometimes winning requires more than just being good. It requires knowing when to fight for what is yours. Think about the world we live in. Not the one we wish existed, but the real one. Out in nature, survival isn't about fairness. It's about dominance. The lion doesn't gather the animals for a meeting to discuss who's had their fair share of food. It hunts, takes what it needs without asking for permission. That's how it survives. And that same instinct, whether we like it or not, still runs through us. We've built cities, laws, and polite societies, but underneath it all, we are still driven by the same old survival game. Those who hesitate, who wait for someone to hand them what they deserve, often end up with nothing. Meanwhile, the ones who move quickly, who push forward without waiting for approval, are the ones who get ahead. Friedrich Nietzsche had a name for this. He called it master morality versus slave morality. It's a tough concept, but it makes sense when you break it down. Imagine two kinds of people. The first group, what Nietzsche called the masters, are the ones who shape their own lives. They decide what's right and wrong based on their strength, their success, and their vision. They don't need anyone to clap for them. They trust their own judgment. Then there's the second group, the slaves. These are the people who feel powerless. Since they can't win through strength, they find meaning in suffering, in being humble, in waiting for someone else to reward them. They see power as something bad because they've never had it. This kind of thinking makes people passive. It convinces them that being good and patient will bring success. But here's the harsh reality. It usually doesn't. That's because of something called the just world fallacy, a trick our minds play on us. From the time we're kids, we're told that life is fair, that if you work hard and stay good, good things will happen to you. But the real world doesn't work like that. Power isn't a prize you get for being nice. It's something you take. While good people are waiting for their reward, the ruthless ones are already out there, making moves, cutting deals, and shaping the world to fit their goals. That's why it often looks like the worst people succeed. They aren't better, they just understand the game. This doesn't mean you have to be heartless to succeed. But it does mean you can't afford to be naive. Life isn't built to reward fairness. It rewards action. If you don't understand that, you'll always be at the mercy of those who do. Have you ever wondered what really separates those who rise to the top from those who stay stuck? It's not always talent. It's not even just hard work. Often, it's a certain mindset, a way of thinking and acting that most people are uncomfortable with. The people who dominate in business, politics, or even history seem to share some common traits, and they're not always the kind we like to talk about. First, there's fearlessness. The truly powerful don't freeze when things get tough. They don't wait for the perfect moment. They move quickly and with confidence, while others are still second-guessing themselves. You've probably seen it before. That one person in a meeting who speaks up without worrying what others think. Or the entrepreneur who risks everything while others are too afraid to try. Then there's low empathy. Now, this doesn't mean being cruel or heartless. It's more about the ability to make tough choices without getting paralyzed by guilt. Sometimes, leading means making decisions that upset people. Cutting costs, letting someone go, choosing what's best for the company over individual feelings. The powerful can do that because they know that success often demands it. And finally, strategic deception. This one's uncomfortable, but it's real. Some of the most successful people understand that being completely honest all the time doesn't always work. They know when to reveal their hand and when to hold back. They know how to present things in a way that benefits them. It's not about lying for the sake of it. It's about playing the game wisely. History is full of these people. Julius Caesar didn't wait for permission to cross the Rubicon. He took his army and marched forward, knowing there was no turning back. Business giants like Steve Jobs were known for their bold decisions, sometimes making choices others called ruthless, because they were building something bigger than themselves. You'll see it today in politics too. The leaders who win elections, even when their opponents seem more honest or qualified, often understand the power of controlling the story, bending the rules, and seizing the moment. That's the pattern. The people who succeed at the highest levels don't sit around hoping things will be fair. They write their own rules. While good people are waiting for someone to notice their hard work, the ambitious ones are creating their own opportunities. They don't ask for justice. They understand the world isn't built on fairness. It's built on action. It's not easy to hear, but it's the truth. If you want to rise, you don't need to lose your soul, but you do need to understand the game. Because the people at the top, they already do. Being ruthless can get you to the top. But can it keep you there? That's the question most people forget to ask. Sure, the ones who lie, cheat, and crush anyone in their way often rise fast. They grab power quickly, sometimes even becoming unstoppable for a while. But look a little closer and you'll notice something else. They also tend to fall, and when they do, they fall hard. History is filled with these stories. Think of the brutal kings and dictators who ruled with fear. They seemed untouchable until one day, their own people turned against them. Or those flashy CEOs who built billion-dollar companies but ended up in scandal, losing everything because their greed finally caught up with them. They burned too bright, too fast. And when the flames died out, there was nothing left. That's because ruthlessness alone is a dangerous weapon. It can win battles, but it also creates enemies. People who are just waiting for the right moment to strike back. When you build your success on fear or manipulation, you're always looking over your shoulder. Sooner or later, someone stronger or smarter will come for your throne. There's an old truth that leaders often forget. Power without wisdom turns against you. You can control people through fear, but only for a while. People remember how you made them feel. If you rule with cruelty, they'll smile to your face but plot behind your back. As the saying goes, a leader who rules through fear will one day be consumed by it. The ruthless may rise fast, but it's the wise who build something that lasts. The strongest don't just win battles, they win wars. They understand that power isn't just about taking, it's about building. They create loyalty, not just fear. They know when to push hard and when to pull back. Look at the true empires, the businesses that thrive for generations, the leaders who are remembered with respect. Their success isn't built on tricks or fear. It's built on vision, strength, and the ability to bring others along for the journey. So yes, ruthlessness can open doors. But if you want to stay on top, you need more than that. You need wisdom. You need balance. Because the goal isn't just to rise fast. The goal is to stay there. So what if you don't want to be ruthless, but you also don't want to be left behind? Is there a way to win without becoming cold, heartless, or stepping on everyone around you? There is. But it's not the path most people take. It's the harder path, the one that demands both strength and integrity. Nietzsche called it the path of the Übermensch. It's not about being better than others. It's about being better than who you were yesterday. It's about self-overcoming, mastering your fears, your doubts, and your weaknesses. True power doesn't come from tricking others or controlling them. It comes from mastering yourself, from knowing what you want and having the strength to go after it, without losing your soul along the way. The mistake many people make is thinking they only have two options: be ruthless or be a victim. That's not true. There's a third way, the path of strategic power. It's about understanding the rules of the game, how people work, how power moves, but not letting those rules control you. You don't need to lie, cheat, or crush others to succeed. But you do need to be strong. You need to know when to stand your ground, when to walk away, and when to push forward without asking for permission. Because here's the truth most people don't like to hear. Fairness is not something you wait for. It's something you create. The world doesn't automatically reward the kind-hearted. It rewards those who shape their own future, those who refuse to let others decide their worth. The strongest people don't play by the old rules. They write their own. Think of the leaders who built something lasting. The ones we respect, not fear. They weren't ruthless for the sake of it. They were builders. They understood power, but they used it to create, not destroy. That's the third path. Power with purpose. Strength with wisdom. Success without losing yourself. That's how you win, and stay proud of the person you see in the mirror. So, after everything we've explored, after all the talk about ruthless people, power games, and the hard truths of the world, there's one final question that really matters. Is power itself evil? It's easy to think that it is. After all, we've seen how power can corrupt. We've watched leaders turn cruel, bosses become greedy, and people we once admired lose themselves the moment they taste success. Power can destroy, can break people, can crush those who stand in its way. But power can also build, can create, can lift people up, can turn ideas into reality and help shape a better future. The truth is, power isn't good or bad. It's a tool. Like fire, it can burn everything down or it can light the way. It all depends on who's holding it. And more importantly, how they choose to use it. So what about you? How will you use power when it's in your hands? Will you let it control you? Or will you master it? Will you let fear hold you back? Or will you rise on your own terms? Because here's the thing. No one is going to hand you permission to succeed. You have to take it. You have to shape your own path. And you have to do it with strength, not cruelty, but strength. Master power. Master yourself. And never wait for permission to rise. If this made you think, if it challenged the way you see the world, then stick around. Subscribe for weekly insights into power, psychology, and the art of mastering your mind. There's more to explore, and this is just the beginning.